Hi, welcome to a short introduction to Solo This Fantasy. Now, these are compatible with the Bloat's game Survive This line and the fantasy book, obviously. So, what you get with this one is, it's my kind of my regular stuff, but the standouts are you got a very simple oracle, based upon the difficulty settings from the uh, Survive This Fantasy book. Um, and then there's the open-ended questions. What I've taken is the uh, the original Carl Hendricks version of the one-page solo engine, the deck of cards, and so I've kind of reproduced that a little bit and changed it slightly, adapted it for solo this fantasy. And because you've got a deck of cards, I've also included this threat levels. Now the idea is with each scene you turn over a card, and if it's got the numerical value, if it was higher than the previous scene, then you find some way of introducing, increasing the level of threats that maybe if you're going to interpret answers, you interpret them in a sort of darker or more dangerous way. If you turn over lower cards than previously, then you you reduce the threat. Maybe the oracle questions give your character a break a little bit. If you've got a picture card or a exactly the same card, then you've got say no change, so you kind of maintain the general level of threat. So because I'm using the card deck for one thing, we may as well use it for something else. And you can have interrupted scenes based upon the cards as well. If you get the same picture card or whatever, you can interrupt your scenes, derail them, change your story, introduce plot twists and things. Um, Now, you may be familiar with my use of the Cornell notes for soloing. That comes up, and there's some advice on improvisation techniques to kind of make it a little bit easier to solo play. I talk about flashbacks as well. Obviously, you get the drama pool. I'm a big fan of those. And then in this adventures chapter, I go back to the 5 room dungeon because think they work really, really well for fantasy adventures. Um, so here you got a definite plot hook, the Guardian, a puzzle challenge, a setback, the big showdown, and then kind of a resolution at the end. Because all good stories they should change something. They should it shouldn't be a case of you just wandering, clear out a dungeon, come out, carry on. There should be, say, villagers that you've saved from the threat in the dungeon. Or you may have been given the task by a patron, and your standing with the patron has risen because of your success. That something should be changed at the end of your adventure. Um, so then I discuss obviously adventure structure in solo using the 5 room dungeon, and then I talk about a bit about mysteries, investigations, and how I would run those. Um, and then I talk about some advice on encounters, prepping encounters, generating encounters, and then following on from that, many encounters are set up to just use up your resources, use up arrows, use up spells, drain hit points, which is all very well. That there is a place for that, but then in solo it can get very very samey if you're just fighting. You know, you have an encounter, you explore another corridor, you go through, you have another encounter, you go. If it keeps repeating, it can lose some of its appeal. Well, for me, certainly. So I deal with kind of I introduce the idea of mooks, reducing the strength of those minor foes. Because if you're having just a single character or a character and a sidekick, then you haven't got a whole party. You've got less resources to wind down anyway. So mooks are just weakened versions of regular monsters or threats or NPCs. And then there's a little bit about published adventures. And then in the text, I've mentioned a few good resources or sources of resources, and I've linked to them here for you. Um, and if you get the print version, then there's a QR code. So if you type it all in, there's a tiny URL as well. And so that's it. That's what you get. Thank you for watching.